This is your 10th DWI. It's not your 5th. It's not your 8th. It's the 10th.
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous today. I'm asking you, please do not send me back to prison. I am definitely headed in the right direction.
Your last sentence was for 15 years in prison. The one before that was for 10. Another 10 year back in 09. I mean, this goes back to the 90s. The fact is, we're just lucky that you haven't killed someone in our community. I just can't do it. I'm going to sentence you to a term of...
This defendant is in court today for sentencing after her 10th DUI charge. And yes, the case goes all the way back to the 9s. After all that, she's still standing here asking not to be sent to prison. She's blaming her childhood and her trauma for literally everything. But at some point, that excuse just doesn't work anymore. Everybody in the courtroom can just see she's running out of chances, and it's just so desperate. It's honestly hard to believe she's even still allowed to drive after this many arrests. Let me know in the comments if you think she should still be given treatment for this, or if it's finally time for prison after her 10th DUI charge. Let's dive in and watch.
Welch is here with her attorney, Mr. Gertz. State's attorney is present. Ms. Welch was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to driving while intoxicated third or more, as well as a prior offense, which made it a second-degree felony offense. There was no agreement with regard to punishment. I have received the pre-sentence report, and has everyone had an opportunity to review that report? Okay, is everyone ready to proceed with sentencing then?
Yes, Judge.
Yes. All right, then argument.
Sometimes it's easy to look at one side of the ledger, the rap sheet or the criminal history, and think that that defines this person. What I have been fortunate enough to do is to really dig down and get to understand her as a human, and see that all the progress she's made, all the effort she's made, and see what she's done well and all of the problems that she's been addressing well. She's obviously very anxious about this day, but we've been looking forward to this day as well to be able to present that. And I want to go down on the bottom of page 2, address what I was talking about in the CSI. So that I'm not saying that this wasn't the words that came out of her mouth, but when she was asked by one of the examiners in the probation report, if she felt she needed treatment, she said she didn't feel like she needed treatment. She wasn't opposed either. I want to clarify what we mean by that. And I say this here, but what she would say, I think, is she did 90 days of detox rehab related treatment, has continued aftercare, has continued mental health care. But in terms of going to a program that is specifically targeted at people who are currently using or currently intoxicated, I think she thought that wasn't the direction that would be ideal. She will do whatever you want her to do, but I wanted to explain what that comment means. Additionally, we've been in contact with her current parole officer. They are willing to keep her on parole instead of revoking her, depending on what the court does here. And so that was encouraging as well. I think we had the same kinds of conversations with them about her recovery and about her efforts. And so I think that was an encouraging sign from them. And then finally, Judge, you see, we didn't want to focus too much on support from the community because, again, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill case. This is a different focus. But she is married. She has a family. She recognizes the impact that all of this has had on her family and her relationships, the strain it has put on her husband, both financially and also emotionally. And she accepts responsibility for that.
Anything else?
Would you like to say something, Judge?
Your Honor, I just want to say that the past was fueled by drugs and alcohol. I take complete responsibility for that. I did not know from very young when things happened in my life that it could have been, some of it could have been treated and stopped earlier if I had gotten help for my mental health. That, after I received this DWI, that helped me get myself to a place that I could go into a treatment program and deal with some of those past traumas. In the past, I didn't. I medicated and drank to just forget about the pain, just numb myself out. I didn't know how else to deal with that. And when I got on my mental health meds, and I have bipolar, I have PTSD, and my mind back then was very chaotic. And I just want to say, after I had my mental health meds, I was able to go through treatment at Santa Maria in Houston, and that place really saved my life. I did extensive 90-day treatment with trauma counselors. It was a trauma-informed community there. And also, when I completed that, I worked an outpatient program, but I still lived on their facility. I went to the sex trafficking and recovery program, and I was in that for about 8 months, where I got the state paid for the counseling for trauma still. And I just worked really hard in that. I got a job while I was in there. And then once that program was over, I moved to a sober living facility in Oxford House in spring, and I worked there until I felt like I was strong enough to come home and do what I needed to do. And I was in the complete program for right at a year. And I'm sorry, I'm very nervous today, and I know that my past record is, like Ryan said, atrocious.
I mean, she doesn't seem like the worst person to ever stand in front of a judge. I mean, we've seen a lot of idiots before, but her record does speak for itself here. 10 DUIs is not something that just happened by accident. At this point, it's a pattern that should have been stopped years ago, and it's just crazy it hasn't. That's what really gets me about this case. Like, I've seen plenty of cases like this, and most of the time people walk away with probation for their very first few DUI charges. I feel like that's probably why she kept pushing her luck. When the system keeps giving out breaks like this, people really do start to think the rules don't apply to them. And I just think this is where the system kind of failed for these types of charges. It really is frustrating to watch, too, and I'm really surprised she hasn't killed anybody yet. And I don't want to be too harsh on her. I mean, everybody goes through hard times, but most people don't use that as an excuse to get behind the wheel drunk 10 times. And just imagine how many times she's done it where she hasn't been caught. Like, it's just crazy to think about. Let me know in the comments if you guys are leaning towards treatment or if you think it's time for some prison time, because honestly, I think anything above 10 will be fair for this one. 1 year for each charge she's gotten.
You know, the things that I had to deal with within myself from when I was a little girl, those are things that you don't go to prison, even in their programs there, that you don't talk about. It's just, you just don't. And I'm asking you, please do not send me back to prison. I want to move forward. I have moved forward in my life, and this year that I've been in jail has given me more time to think and know that I am definitely headed in the right direction. I have a sponsor. I attend AA at home. I moved on with my life as far as I could with my sobriety. I mean, I knew this charge was out there. And I think I made some really good choices with my Mid-County AA friends. They've helped me a lot, and I am open to anything. I will abide by all the rules and do anything that's asked of me. And I think, I know now that I'm responsible and capable of taking care of my business and my life.
Thank you. So, Ms. Welch, Ms. Malfino probably said it yet best, and I get this often, and they don't envy my position, and this is the worst part of my job. But I worked hard to get here, and it's my job. Part of my job, it's several things, and it's to look at, obviously defendants and giving chances and things like that, but it also is about making our community safe. And I have to look back. This is your 10th DWI. It's not your 5th. It's not your 8th. It's the 10th. And while I understand the trauma that you went through, that you've been to Safe P 3 times, you've been given opportunities on probation where they were revoked. You've had opportunities while you were on parole to do what you have done now. And while I appreciate what you've done, and I think that's great, and my goal isn't to, to stop any improvement, but I can't, in my opinion, in good faith, go home tonight, look myself in the mirror and say I gave somebody on their 10th DWI that your last sentence was for 15 years in prison. The one before that was for 10. The one before that, you've gone to another 10 year back in 09. I mean, this goes back to the 90s. You got a 10-year sentence in 2011. While you're on parole for that one, you get another one. So they give you 15 years and you get out and you're on parole and you do it again. The fact is, we're just lucky that you haven't killed someone in our community 9 times over, being given opportunities. I just can't do it. I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find and your plea of true to the prior offense. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of driving while intoxicated. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 18 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. You're going to be handed a trial court certification that shows this was not, well, I guess there was an agreement because the waiver of the enhancement, which could have been a 25 to life, as Mr. Gertz said. So I'm going to hand you the certification that shows this was an agreement. You've waived your right to appeal. I'm also handing you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession, because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. You should read the written admonishment I provide you. If you have any questions about that, you can talk to Mr. Gertz. And Ms. Welch, I take no pleasure in this. This is extremely difficult for me. I understand to some extent addiction, and I understand that you are on a better path. However, there have been plenty of opportunities in the past where you were on a better path and you got back out and you got back on our roads again. And so good luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Gertz and Ms. Malfino. Court will be adjourned.
This sentence was really the only thing that made sense. I mean, you can tell she feels bad, but it is hard to feel sorry after seeing how many chances she's had. The judge even said she tried to give her a fair shot before, and she went right back to doing the same exact thing. I feel like at this point, you just have to look at the actions, not her words. I mean, she was saying how sorry she was and how she didn't want to go back to prison, but just like to put that into perspective, like 10 is so many charges. Like most people get scared after their first DUI charge, but obviously we've seen people who go back out and don't care. But I just think the judge handled it exactly how she should have. I feel like you guys are going to say 18 years sound a little harsh, but when you think about how many people she could have hurt, it just makes so much sense. What really gets me too is just I can't imagine being a judge and having to go home after handing out a sentence like this. But like she said, that is just a part of the job, I guess. But yay. Guys, let me know in the comments if you think 18 years was fair or if you guys would have gone lighter if you were the judge. Thank you so much for watching. Guys, Make sure to like and subscribe. Take care, everyone.